So tonight's call is really honestly just a mindset check. I feel like this month, the last month, most of November, coming into December, I've heard so many people talking about just the struggle that they're having in their business, struggle they're having in their own personal journeys. And I really kind of want to touch on that tonight. And I want to pull out some things that have been really crucial for me in my own journey, things that have helped me get through some of the hard times in my over the last 2.5 years throughout my coaching journey, and that continue to help me to this day. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And tonight we're literally going to just be talking about getting through the hard. Okay. So prepare yourselves. It's going to be a little bit of a tough love call. A lot of reflection, a lot of just some truths. But you guys, that is what we're here for. We're here to grow. We're here to become our best selves. And this business literally is about you actively becoming the person that you want to be. And that means going through hard times, right? It's going to mean peaks and valleys and peaks and valleys and peaks and valleys. And that is okay. And that is normal. Okay. So the truth is that we are the ones in our own way. Okay. We are the ones that are getting in our own way when it comes to our journey. But that is the thing is about that is that we have to be willing to become aware, self-aware enough that we recognize that. I say all the time, you guys, that it's not about like avoiding struggles in your business. It's not about avoiding failure or avoiding, it's not that you shouldn't do things and then, fail forward kind of thing. It's that when you feel like you're getting in a funk or when you feel like something's not working, that you get faster and faster at recognizing that shift inside yourself and you take positive action to get yourself out of it. Okay. So the two things that really honestly hold us back is our mindset and the reflection piece. Okay. This happens to all of us, you guys. Our mindset, literally like how we think on a day-to-day basis, is what keeps us from having good days. It's what keeps us from focusing on the good that's happening in our business. It keeps us, moving forward, or it holds us back. Okay. It's why personal development is such a huge piece of our, is one of the 4 vital behaviors. It's why focusing on your own journey first is your number one job, right? Because you and your mental health and your physical health and your, building your own confidence and knowledge base and, etc., focusing on your own why is your number one thing, because you can't do anything, you can't do anything without being grounded in that. Okay. But the fact is life happens and we do get in our own way and we do have imposter syndrome and we do have egos and we do have insecurities that we are actively confronting day to day, and there is so much constantly new things coming at us that we haven't experienced. Of course, all of that's going to get triggered. So what happened, we have to, that reflection piece, that, becoming self-aware that something isn't working, that we're not feeling like ourselves. Be willing to reflect. Okay. This is the cycle. Literally. It's working on yourself, taking steps forward, constantly, being willing to step outside your comfort zone. And then with that, knowing that it's not going to be a smooth, course, and being willing to reflect every day when your head hits the pillow. Did I do everything that I could possibly do? Every week, did I hit my weekly goal? If I didn't, what could I do differently? What did I do or not do? Monthly. Okay. Last month, not my greatest month. reflect on what I did. What was I not doing, or what was I doing that really kind of, negatively or positively impacted me. Okay. So the truth is that what got you to where you are right now in your business is not what's going to be what gets you to that next level in your business. Okay. What got you to this point in your health and wellness journey. It's just, we are constantly changing and growing beings, you guys. Like, we have to continuously level up in our own life, in our own journey, in order to become, to get to where we really want to go. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure I've heard every single person talk about the fact that they either want, they want really big things with this business, whether that's paying off debt, whether that's being able to give up jobs, whether that's being able to do this full time or build a 6-figure business or beyond. If you want to do any of those things, then you're going to have to constantly be willing to push yourself outside your comfort zone, right? To be doing those two things, growing in your mindset, growing, in your leadership, and being willing to reflect back on what's working and not working in your business. Okay. Let that guide you. That is literally your compass. And that's honestly, when I think about this with myself, I truly think that it's like all a blur, other than the fact that I know that every time something felt like it wasn't working, I just used that as my redirect. I didn't see it as, I chose not to see it, or I refused to see it as a sign that I wasn't meant to do this, but I chose to see it as a means of like, okay, this isn't working. This doesn't feel good. So what can I go do? What can I go learn about? What do I need to dive into in order to get better in this area so that I don't feel this discomfort anymore? Okay. So right now in the chat, I want you to answer what feels like it is not working right now in your business. Like, what, feels hard for you right now in your business currently where you're at. Okay. Because I'm going to read it and I want to see what you guys have to say. Let me stop my share. So my invites after the National Wake Up Call was really good today. Yeah. Needing to be more authentic. Okay. What else, you guys? Everything. Okay. All right. Well, while you guys are doing that, I'm just going to say, so, all right, perfect example. Actually, your invites, not feeling like you're being authentic on your stories. Like, you guys, that if you feel like your invites are where you're struggling, then you need to go watch trainings, look up, that's what I would do. I would go, if I felt like my invites were where I was struggling, if I felt like I was constantly getting no's, if I felt like I didn't know, like I was always running into trouble when it came to the objection, I remember, like, I would dive in. Like, I can remember these specific periods in my business where that was all I focused on, where like that was like my main focus, right? I tailored my professional development around it. I was watching YouTube trainings, that all that I could find from other top coaches where the topic of discussion was talking about inviting, overcoming the invite. And I would just pick up nuggets. I would pick up nuggets here and there of things to try, of what to do. People, other successful coaches did at this point in their business when they hit this kind of roadblock. Like, what would they do? What were different ways that I was in my wording? Like, when it comes to your invites, you're answering your question right immediately with the fact that you feel like you need to be more authentic, because the thing is that if you literally need to think about who you are on your stories, you know, like you need to think about who you are, right? How do you normally talk? Then that is how you need to think and reflect on how you're inviting. Because I know for a fact that that is exactly what I did wrong for a very long time. I was a word vomit inviter, very long, very awkward, like just, I mean, yes, I'm a awkward person and, you know, at times in person in real life, but when it comes to how I would want to be invited, I hate being around the bush. And I had to reflect on that. Like my invites were like completely screaming like awkward and just salesy, right? So that's when I started to, you know, switch it up. I looked at how I could cut down my invite, how I could make it more me. What would I actually say? How do I kind of talk on my stories? Like I'm a very like touchy-feely kind of person. Yes, I'm very emotional, but I'm also pretty blunt, right? I'm not afraid to talk about tough subjects on my stories. So why, you know, be around the bush when it comes to my invite, right? And then I started to slowly see a shift, okay? So then when it comes to, all right, time management, perfect. Yeah, another perfect example is like if time management's where you're struggling, that's a perfect self-reflection point to look at your day-to-day, to understand, am I planning out my weeks? Am I designating certain time to work my business? Am I staying true to that? Because that was a really tough one for me. That came back to a lot of the fact that I was not, you know, communicating enough about when I needed to work my business. I wasn't being diligent enough about, you know, doing the business building activities when I had the time to do them, aka making sure they were done before I walked out the door, because I knew I had to reflect on where I was at in my life. And this is just another piece. You guys have to understand, like look at your weaknesses right now. Like look at your life right now. Are you working, you know, what is your schedule like? Is it crazy? Do you know that your day goes to shit and you never know what, you know, is going to happen in the evening time? Well, then you need to plan for that unpredictability, right? So that was sort of what started to help me. I switched up my planners. I started to get more diligent about planning out my weeks, right? I took that time, that hour every Saturday morning to get as ahead of as I could with all the stuff that I could possibly plan ahead of time. And I really became clear on what it was that I wasn't doing. I was missing in my doing on my tracker every day that wasn't moving my business forward, aka I was putting off my invites, putting off answering my messages. So I put that to the top of my list. Okay. So I put that to the top of my list. And when it came to like posting, because that was another time suck for me because I overthought that. I overthought inviting, I overthought posting. So when it came to posting, I made it simpler for myself. Okay. So I gave myself sort of made up my own schedule in my own mind of like, okay, Sundays and Mondays are like transformation days. I'll do call to actions on those days and I'll have, you know, do it some sort of side by side. You know, you've got transformation Tuesdays, you could do transformations on Fridays, you know. I really like took advantage of listening and learning from my personal development to get inspiration from that on my way to work. And then I would do a post either on my lunch break, or I'd wait to do my post like I can wait, you know, my business building activities were done early on in the day. I could have that time in the evening before Nate got home to like write up a post, right? And explaining, you know, the challenge pack. We've talked about how to explain the challenge pack a million different times, okay? If you don't know how to explain the challenge pack, then you need to reach out and ask somebody, what are you know, other coaches, your upline, reach out and ask them, how do you explain to people how to do the challenge pack, like what the challenge pack is? Because you guys, I literally have a copy paste. And every single one of you should be working on developing some sort of a when it comes to the conversation, when it gets to that point, you should have a boom, boom, boom of like what you give people to explain what the boot camp is, what the challenge pack is and what comes with it. And then following up with a, does that sound good to you? Right? That's literally, I have a 1, 2, 3. Okay. When people, I get to the point where they're interested, I'm constantly reaffirming, does that sound like something you're interested? Okay, boom, next step. Send them the info. Okay, does that sound good to you? Okay, yes, boom, next step. Okay, that's all stuff you can learn and figure out very easily by leaning into one, your team, asking them what they're sending and what they're doing. And again, YouTube, diving into trainings and going into the team page and asking people, how do you explain these things or whatever. Okay. So I could answer questions all day. So I'm going to keep going with my presentation. All right. So, all right. We talked about that. So you guys, this reflection piece, so important, right? How long, have you been sitting on something that isn't working, right? How long have you been struggling with your invites? How long have you been struggling with your time management? How long have you been struggling with, not knowing how to explain the challenge pack, that you've been waiting for an answer to come? You know what I mean? This is where, you have to be willing to ask yourself, all right, I'm struggling with this. What action do I need to go take? Okay. Because that's literally all this is. The people that sit and wait for things to come to them are the people that don't ever go anywhere. Okay. You have to become resourceful. Just like we said, day one in our training is that the most successful coaches are the resourceful coaches, AKA the people who go out and seek the information that they need to find, right? Seek the information that they are lacking. If I feel like I don't know, volume, perfect example. I was stressed out beyond belief because I knew I wasn't making the income that I wanted to make. And I knew that if I wanted to really grow, I needed to understand what and how I made money in this business. So volume, and all I kept hearing within our team pages and our leadership pages was volume, volume, volume. Okay. I did not understand this at all. Okay. Numbers have never been my strong suit, but you know what? I can tell you for probably 3-4 months, all I did was watch trainings on volume because I didn't get it. And then one day I finally freaking got it, right? I asked my upline mentor. I watched all the trainings. I kept asking questions until I finally understood it. And then you know what? As soon as I understood it, I went and I taught it, right? You guys remember our call on volume a while ago? And now I'm trying to pay that forward because the sooner that I can, paying it forward also helps me understand it even more. Okay. So whatever your weakness is, you guys, it's okay. We all have weaknesses, but you have to lean into that. Okay. Because the only way that you're going to excel and keep growing is the faster that you can go learn what you need to learn to become not necessarily an expert, but knowledgeable in that subject. Okay. So there is a difference, between, and what I mean by this is I feel like a lot of people at this point, when they reach this point in their business, especially early on, they start to think that this isn't for them. Right. Like I told you guys, I have had thoughts doubts, especially in the beginning when is this really for me? But it was what really changed that was understanding that this was no plan B for me. This really was I wanted this to be my plan A, right? I got really, really concretely grounded in why I was doing this. And that why that started as just wanting to hold myself accountable and then, wanting to maybe pay off my credit card before we got married. grew and grew and grew as I kept pushing myself and realizing, oh my God, I'm doing this. Like, I can push myself. I'm capable of this. It grew and grew to something that was so big that I finally realized, like, okay, yeah, this is what I really want. I really do want this and more and more and more, that I understood that there was that it was like, I've been through hard things. This is not as hard as the hard things that I've been through, right? Like, I can get through this hard if it's going to possibly give me the life. Like, I was willing to do the things that others wouldn't, to get to a life that other people wish and want to have, right? So there's a difference though, you guys. Like, you have to understand that when you get to these points, that it doesn't mean that this isn't for you. There's a difference. Like, if you're just feeling stuck, you maybe, like, gut check. Are you waiting for the answers? Are you waiting? Like, are you thinking success is just going to come to you? Because newsflash, it doesn't come to anybody. Any top coach that you listen to on the National Wake Up Call, or that you're watching their YouTube trainings, you guys, they worked their butt off, right? They worked both jobs until they finally, 2 years in, 3 years in, they finally, like, they're, that momentum, that pumping the well all that time finally took off, right? Like, they failed and failed and failed and failed their way forward until they became the coach now that you see and think, oh my God, how did they get there, right? So if you're feeling this way, remember, like, that's not the case, but that's oftentimes what I see. And it's so unfortunate. Like, people come in with these really big goals and dreams and have one bad month, let it, spiral into 2 or 3 or whatever. And then they quit because they were never willing to have that gut check with themselves. They weren't willing to be resourceful and go after the things that they were struggling with, and being, be doing the work that they needed to do to get better at it. Okay. So another reflection question. You don't have to answer this, in the chat, but, like, I want you to think about it. Where are you at? Where were you at last month? How did you end last month? Where are you at currently at this month, at this moment in the month? It doesn't matter if you're at SC0 right now, but are you the type of person that maybe you haven't hit Success Club yet, or are you consistently hitting Success Club, or just barely scraping by at the very end of the month? Because I can honestly tell you, my first 6 months of coaching, that was how I ran my business. I was last minute, barely getting SC6, like, scrambling, stressed out all the time, because I just, like, felt like I made it so hard on myself because I wasn't, pushing myself. I wasn't, super consistent with my inviting. I wasn't working on my time management, good with my time management. And I wasn't incorporating the reflection piece. I knew I was doing the tasks, but I wasn't reflecting enough to see that I wasn't doing enough, and that I wasn't, doing it consistently enough to actually help pump that well enough that I could do more, right? And then all it took was, like, one, I started to push myself a little bit. And then finally, like, that first month, I remember, like, I got SC8. And then it was like, oh my God, I got SC8. Maybe I can go for 10. And then once I hit SC10, it was like, oh my God, the ceiling is, I broke the ceiling. Like, I can do more, right? And then it just grows and grows and grows. But you have to be willing to do that gut check, okay? So just know, like, it's not always easy it's not easy to look in the mirror, you guys. It's not. But you also have to be willing to look in the mirror, okay? And you have to be willing to say, like, am I where I should be right now? Am I where I want to be right now? Am I where I'm capable of being right now? And if I'm not, all right, what am I going to do tomorrow in the next day and the next day, that I'm going to start working towards getting where I want to be? Okay? And, like, you have to remember, like, you are not a soul, like a solo ship, you know, like you are not like an island all to yourself. You are a part of a team, okay? You play a huge role in the success of this team, okay? Like no one is you. That is your superpower. You play a unique and special role in helping this team flourish and thrive and succeed, okay? Us, you know, Team Sweaty Lovely Life, like does not exist without you, okay? So you, if anything, remember the fact that you're not in this for, you know, on your own. Like you're not doing this on your own. You're not, you know, it's not just you. It's not just about you. Like, yes, you're here for your own personal goals, but you also became a part of a team when you said yes to this, okay? And you're not just a part of a team when it's convenient for you, okay? You're a part of the team always. So if you need that other extra layer of accountability, like we say, like becoming a coach, you know, being a part of the boot camp is like that layer of accountability for your fitness journey. You know, being a coach is that extra layer of accountability for your fitness journey. Well, being a part of a team, you guys, like, is that layer of accountability for your business, okay? Because your success helps our success. Like, and someday you're going to be the person, you know, leading your own team. You're doing a call like this for your team, and you're going to be wanting them to do their best so that you guys as a team can thrive and flourish, okay? So you have to think about it constantly, like being the coach that you want to be, or you would want to be on your team, right? What's the coach that you want to attract? Be her, okay? That's constantly like perfect example. I'm, you know, like real life, real talk. If you read my post today, you know for the fact that like I've been going through my own funk. There's many nights or many weeks, these past few weeks, these past couple of months that I have not wanted to show up for team calls. I've not wanted to show up for, you know, in my business. I've not been wanting to show up for trainings. You guys, you know what literally makes me show up is because I know that I can't ask you to do anything that I'm not willing to do. I can't be the coach that talks the talk and doesn't walk the walk, right? And I refuse to be that. So even when I don't feel like it, even when I'm going through my own shit, even when I'm going through my own whatever, you best believe I'm always going to show up for you, okay? And in turn, showing up for you always makes me feel better, right? Because I know that, but even though I'm pushing outside my comfort zone and I'm, you know, of what I currently feel right now, even though I'm, you know, acting against my emotions right now, I know that this truly is who I want to be. I want to be the girl that shows up. I want to be the leader that leads and leads from the front and leads by example. Okay. So ask yourself those same questions. All right. So the next reflection piece is, are you tracking your business? Okay. I know not everyone loves the business activity tracker, but you guys, they did a freaking study on it, and the people that use the tracker, they hit Success Club. And I don't just mean hitting Success Club, 3 people. Literally, you guys, I want you changing lives. That's what Success Club means. Success Club means that you are paying this forward and you're changing lives. If you are doing the things on the tracker, then you are going to be doing the thing, pumping the well of moving your business forward. If you have another system, why I say another means of tracking, because I know I personally copy the pieces in the business activity tracker over into my Rise planner every week. So if anyone has a Rise planner, at the bottom of the planner, there's a place for a daily checklist. You fill in the blanks of what you're checking off. I don't like multiple pieces of paper, so I copy it into there, right? So that's what I mean, okay? Are you tracking your business? Are you tracking your invites, right? Because if you don't track, you guys, you can't look back and see where it is that you're not doing what you need to do. I can tell you right now from my own reflection, like where the places that every week where I always am lacking is in recognition. You know, going back into my boot camp, recognizing everyone for, you know, what they're doing, their post for the day. You know, I our weekly recognition on in our team page. I need to do it more. Like that's where I know that I am not doing enough, right? Because that is one of my weak areas. And that's something that I'm always trying to be more aware of and work on. Okay. But you can't know where your weak area is if you aren't tracking. Okay. So the truth side of that is that if you, like, everything you did or didn't do last month is what's causing whatever you're doing or not, or feeling or not feeling currently in this month. Okay. And that is the rhythm. Everything you did in the 2-3 months prior to this is the lack or the momentum that you're feeling now that is causing you angst or causing you to feel like you're thriving. Okay. The good news is that every day we have a chance to change that momentum. Okay. It's not, and that's the thing, nothing changes overnight, but I promise you, like we talked about, the 2 things that, you know, bring success, your mindset and you're willing to reflect. If you switch up your mindset now, tonight, today, that energy is going to be infectious. It's going to be felt automatically from the people that are watching you. It's going to be completely 100% noticeable, because if you switch on your mindset and you start taking action on the things that you're weaker in, like the things that you aren't doing, if you start doing the things, that's going to become automatically noticeable, and it's going to immediately start drawing attention. Okay. It's going to immediately start, you know, pumping that well again. Okay. So if you don't have a system, if you don't have a means of tracking, get yourself a planner. Highly recommend the Rise Planner, or get yourself the Success Club Business Activity Tracker. It's in our team page. You can Google it. It's in the Beachbody Champions page. And print out yourself like 4 or 5 copies of that, one for each week of the month. Put it in a little binder, slip it into your notebook that you have where you keep track of your invites, and that is your Bible. Okay. All right. Now, I created a little something because, like I said, you guys, funks happen. Life happens. Every time you go through something, a change, you know, just there's so many triggers, right? That can, you know, cause you to go into some sort of imposter syndrome or sense of doubt or whatever what it is with your business. Okay. So I created this checklist that I totally copied from Kate Schultes, for us to have in our team page. I'm going to post it in the team page after this call, for you guys to come back to. Okay. I want you to start to like ingrain these into your brain as your literal Bible of whenever you feel like you're in a funk, like the things that you need to reflect on and ask yourself. Okay. So let me find it. Okay. All right. Oh shoot, I stopped my share. So here it is. Let me see. It's called our Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself. Okay. So number 1, why are you here? All right. Because I guarantee you, if you're feeling off, like I find most of the time with myself, it's the fact that I've gotten like off track with why I'm actually doing this. Okay. I have let myself forget why I fell in love with coaching, why I started to begin with. And I've let that, you know, myself veer off from that. And from there, I've allowed a lot of negativity and whatever to seep into my brain. Okay. So I want you to think about it. Think about why you said yes to this. You know, why did you say yes to start sharing this opportunity with other people, right? Was it because you wanted to hold yourself more accountable with your health and fitness? Was it because you craved that community, that you craved that, that team culture? Was it because you had a lot of debt that you wanted to pay off, or that you craved that freedom of potentially staying home with your kids someday? Like, you guys, that is so important, because I constantly, like, what brings me back, they is talking about, like, is thinking back of why I actually like started out on this to begin with. Okay. It may have started with something as small, not as really that small, but paying, paying off my credit card, right? I wanted to hold myself accountable and look good at my, I knew I was probably getting engaged soon. I wanted to like be held more accountable in my fitness, like getting ready for my wedding. But I also like just really badly wanted to be able to say was debt free, right? I had this huge fear of my financial like burden that I had over me, and I didn't want to bring that into my marriage. Okay, so that was a huge motivator for me, right? When all the hard stuff of starting this and learning this and all of that, like, was not nearly as bad as it was of the shame that I felt on a daily basis over the fact of that I was just so stuck in my finances and so stuck in my job because of that. Okay. And you need to talk about that. Okay. Because you need to remind yourself of that. You need to lean into that and share that. Like, I feel like so oftentimes, that's something that I hear, is that people feel like they're getting repetitive, when people have been doing this for a while and they feel like, well, I feel like all I do is talk about the same things. Like when it comes to coaching, guys, that's a good thing. That is where you want to get to, because that means that you are super grounded in why you're here, that you're so like centered in on why you're coaching. Okay. Like, I know for a fact why I'm here. Okay. It was financial freedom, freedom of time to grow my family, be more of a present mom, a mom that is like a great influence to her kids, because I do not want to pass on the negative, self-talk that I used to have as a kid because of basically what I saw in my own family. Like, huge is like, I want to be able to decide what to do with my time and how to rate, spend my days, right? I want that financial and that time freedom. So I talk about that, and I talk about that credit card debt, and I talk about how I used to, when I was working full time, what I used to dream of, and how I wanted to be able to, have our home and be able to do the things that when we want to do them, and, be able to be a mom and raise my kids and not have to worry about going, to night shift or being on call and all those things. I talk about those things all the time because that's my story, right? That's what's going to connect me with the other Amy's of the world, right? That's what's going to draw them to me and me to them, is by talking about the things that truly matter to me. And I don't care if I sound like a broken record, because that's it. I want to find my people, right? So if you feel like, that's a great place to start, is like, why are you here? Okay. Because if you're grounded in why you're here, then you're going to figure everything else out. You're going to have that drive and motivation to figure out anything that goes wrong, because you're so clear on why you're here. Okay. So the second one, you guys, is like, I'm going to straight up give you permission right now that if you're not in love with the program that you're doing, if you're not in love with, the results that you're getting, switch it up. I don't care. I'm not that coach that's going to tell you that you have to stick with a program till completion if you are absolutely like dreading it, okay? If you're not completely in love with it, because you guys, people feel that, okay? People feel and can tell when you aren't truly jiving, like energetically in alignment with whatever you're doing, okay? Now, there's a difference between struggling because a program is hard and like just completely dreading and hating the program, okay? But you have to remember that when you focus on yourself, literally everything falls into place. Okay. That's if you want to have a mantra, like tell yourself that on a repeated basis. When you focus on yourself, everything falls into place. So if you aren't loving your program, well, then you're not going to get really good results, right? You're not going to feel good. Your energy is going to be off. You're not going to, be as happy as you normally would be, right? And it's just, things are going to feel harder because you're going to feel like you're faking it. You're going to feel like you're having to just fake it till you make it. No, guys, like the point is you want to get to the point where you don't have to fake it, right? Where this is almost like, I don't want to say like breathing, but I would say there's a lot of things about what I do as a coach, like getting on my stories and talking about random things or whatever, a lot of that is kind of just what I do, right? Because I'm not overthinking as much as I was in the beginning, because I'm truly leading with just trying to be myself, and I'm leading with just like where I'm, my own journey. Okay. So, and on the flip side of that, you guys, little tidbit, don't stop recording. And I'm guilty of this too. Don't record during your workout. Turn your phone on airplane. Just do your freaking workout. Like that is your time, right? To pour in yourself. What I would do is do your workout and then like pick 1 or 2, maybe 3, depending on the time that you have, moves that you can do quickly, like, and record those after your workout is done. And then make a trailer video or whatever that you want to do using that. That's oftentimes what I do. Sometimes literally my video is of literally 2 moves that I did out of my workout. And I've been noticing that, like I've gotten caught up in recording again when I'm doing my workout, and maybe I'm secretly kind of doing it because I want that little bit of a break, but it's not a good habit, and it really disrupts my workout, and it doesn't allow me to really have that centered time with myself. So check yourself and make sure like you're not doing this. And if you are doing it, know that, okay, you're human. Well, leave it to the end. Okay. And then 3, like I kind of was saying, how are you showing up on social media? Or are you showing up on social media? Okay. Because you guys, you got to show up on social media. All right. People are not going to get a chance to know you if you don't show up on social media. And just like Ashley was saying, or the National Wake Up Call, I hope everyone listens to that. Or if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. Literally, the more that you can just show up and literally be yourself, you guys, like the better. Okay. The more you can just literally like get to the point where you are just talking about the things that you want to talk about. Like if you're a random rambler like I am, be a random rambler, right? Because that's what literally creates the engagement in my inbox, is when I talk about things I'm passionate about, and then people end up in my inbox telling, starting conversations with me off of what I said, right? So you need to be honest, are you faking it? Are you just feeling like you're going through the motions? Are you just doing things or putting something up so you can say that you got 8 to 10 slides in for your stories that day, Because if you're being repetitive, if you're not showing up and you're not giving people any taste of like who you are truly, what your life really is like, then you guys, they're going to feel that and they're going to go on to the next. Okay. So listen to the National Wake Up Call, hear what she says, get ideas from other people. I'm not, perfect with stories at any means, but I will say that I have noticed that the more that I've not cared over the last few months, the more that I've seen the increase in engagement through my stories. Okay. And I mean that, saying that not like clicks and stuff like that on my polls. I mean like responses in messaging through in response to what I'm saying. Right. I'm finding that my conversations are flowing easier because people already have seen me, gotten to know me through my stories, right? I'm talking about my boot camp. I'm talking about what I'm excited about. I'm talking about, struggling through my workout or whatever like that. Like I'm talking about things that are actually happening in real time. And I'm being real. And so I feel like my conversations and invites flow that much easier. So, and when they aren't, when I am in a funk, when I am retreating, when I am just going through the motions, that's when I feel the resistance. Okay. So number 4, we talked about this, inviting. What does your inviting look like? This is really, key reflection piece. What does it look like? Does it feel authentic to you? Because if it does feel authentic to you, then it's going to be authentic to your people. If it doesn't feel authentic, then you got to switch it up. Okay. And the other flip side to that, something I talk about all the time, I know I've said it to a bunch of you new coaches, if you've gone through a new coach training, you can't do one without the other. You can't be on your stories and not be posting, on your feed and you can't be posting on your feed and not sending invites. You literally need the trifecta and it all needs to align. My post today is reflected in what I talked about in my stories. And that's also, then I also invited today. You get what I'm saying? Like what I was feeling, what I talked about today in my post is reflected on what I kind of shared in my stories and what I talked about. And then, obviously I need to invite because people don't, need to be invited. The invite is that key link, right? Because everyone needs to feel seen and invited to something. Okay. So I know a lot of people, this is a common thing I hear too a lot, is that they feel like, they don't want to feel salesy. They don't want to, I don't know, like they don't want to feel like they're selling people or they're convincing people. You guys do not. Like, one, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. 2, like I said, if it's something that you would say, how were you invited? Think back to that. That's another really, important piece is to think back, like, if you can, go back to the conversations that we had when you joined or whoever your upline is. Go back to those conversations. Look at how many times you went back and forth. What was the dialogue like? And think about, like, was she direct with you? If you responded to a direct message, like AKA like short into the point, like don't be afraid to be who you are in your messaging, right? And then also just know, like, confidence grows as you take more action. Confidence grows as you do this more and more and more. The more you do number 1, 2, and 3, aka working on yourself, growing in your own personal confidence, doing that reflection piece, I swear to you, you're gonna slowly develop this thicker skin of realizing that you only want to communicate with your people, that you don't care if so-and-so doesn't want to join your boot camp, because you know that what a great thing it really is. And you know that your people are out there and you just need to get through those no's to get to your next yes, to find your next person. Okay. So a great place to, great reflection piece, just looking at your inviting and seeing, like, are you really being your authentic self in your inbox? Because if it's not matching the outside, then it's not going to be received. Okay. So number 5, the last one, is to give yourself some freaking grace. Like I said, like nobody is perfect at this. Like nobody doesn't fail. Like everyone literally like fails their way forward through this thing. Okay. You don't think I get no's? I get no's every single day. Like you don't think that I feel lost at times in my business all the time. Like, but you guys, like, you have to focus on the things that are working. Okay. If I focus on the fact that things feel like I feel like I'm getting all these no's, then I'm just going to get more no's. And that's something that I learned through a hell of a lot of personal development and a hell of a lot of paying attention to the pattern. If I felt like things weren't working and I focused intensely on the thing that wasn't working, then all that happened was that it just kept not working, right? If I looked at the things that were working and then like reflected on the things that weren't working, but then just kept moving on to doing what I could to make that, become like a work in progress versus like something that just literally was stagnant and like holding me back, then it was like I had a sense of empowerment, right? So like it's true. Like if you focus on things in a negative way, then it's going to remain negative and you're just going to receive more negative things. If you're someone that focuses on gratitude, like every single morning, are you writing out things that you're grateful for? Are you grateful for every single day? I write that I'm grateful for the people that I get to help today. I'm grateful for the lives I get to change today. I'm grateful for the ladies that joined my boot camp, and I'm grateful for the people that are going to join. Like I write things like that out in my gratitude list every single morning because that's the kind of energy I want to create. I'm not going to focus on the 20 no's I got today. I'm going to focus on the yes I got, and I'm going to celebrate it, right? Because I want more yeses. So focus on, and if you didn't get a yes today, then focus on the messages, or the positive things you're seeing in your boot camp. Focus, if you got a message from one of your challengers, focus on that. If you felt really good today, or you sent out your invites, or if you've been really consistent with your, business activity tracker and sending out your invites and whatever, like if you conquered a fear today, focus on those things, you guys. Don't focus on just what's not working, right? Because again, don't wait for success and don't wait for like things to just magically like get better. They get better as you focus on the good while you're working on getting better at the things that you're weaker at or that you aren't as strong at. Okay. All right. So I'll read the chat. You guys are okay. So I'm going to post that in the team page so that you guys can come back to that. But to wrap this all up, I know that that was a lot, and I truly hope you guys understand and know that I say all of this with love. Everything I'm sharing with you tonight is because I truly want you to know that this isn't, you are not being targeted by the universe. This isn't hard because you're not meant to be here, but you are the one that has to choose to start seeing it that way. Okay. And I love this quote: a champion does not allow a short-term failure to take her out of the long-term gain. Okay. So like I said, like you need to remember and honor the impulse that you had that when you said yes to this. Okay. You didn't say yes for, no reason. Like you aren't here for no reason. Like you wouldn't have been brought to this point or introduced to this community or this opportunity or myself or whoever, if not on purpose. Okay. Everything is on purpose in some way, shape, or form. So you need to honor that, right? You didn't get here to just get so far. Like you didn't come this far to just come this far. And if you feel like you've been stuck for a while, then it's damn time that you start doing something about it. Because I know for a fact that there's no worse feeling to me than the idea of feeling stuck. Okay. It's where how I felt for years before I finally did something about my health and fitness, like started creating, like making changes to my lifestyle. And when I started coaching you guys, my number one, like I said, I'm sure that many of you have been through harder things than this coaching, journey, right? You've been through some hard shit. I'm sure you all have. So this isn't hard. We get to be and play around on social media, right? We get to share like an amazing opportunity, gift, whatever you want to call it, with other people. We get to have conversations. We get to hang out with each other. We get to build relationships, right? Like, you guys, honestly, one of my favorite things is learning more about this business. It's addicting to me. I love the idea of learning. I've always, I love the feeling of being creative. I love being able to flex these muscles of mine that I didn't get to use for so long. Like when I was just trying to grind through nursing school and get a job and then started just working. You know what I mean? I still get to care and teach and give, educate people on things that I'm really passionate about, while also getting to utilize other passions of mine, that some of which I didn't even know I had. Okay. So if you're feeling stuck, and if you're that person that is, waiting till the last couple days of the month to reach their goal, or keeps putting off the thing that isn't working, or, is keeping their blinders on, is not wanting to look in the mirror, you guys stop doing that. Stop self-sabotaging yourself, right? Like it's December 9th. There are literally like 3 weeks left in this month, okay? And even if it was 3 days left until the end of the month, so much can happen in 3 days. So much can happen in a day. Like I said, switch up your mindset. If you literally take this as seriously as I hope you do, and you like change up your mindset, and you start taking that positive action, you're going to immediately feel the difference, because it's going to be an immediate sense, from your audience, that something is different here, right? They're going to feel your energy. They're going to feel your excitement. They're going to feel your momentum. And you guys, that's addicting, okay? Positive energy is addicting, okay? So just stop quitting. Stop walking off the track at the end of the month and thinking that it's over when it's not over. It's not over till midnight Eastern time every single last day of the month, okay? We have literally 3 weeks left until the end of the year. And I know so many of you are capable of so much more of where you're at right now, okay? I know I am. I know you are. I know we as a team are. And I don't want any of you to end this year without feeling like you gave it everything you had to go. And you guys, the great thing about that is that everything you're going to do this month is what's going to explode you into 2020. Okay. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you guys took a lot away from this call. Like I said, I'm going to share the thing, that checklist in the team page. I hope all of our team, share that with your team, share that with your downline, whatever. But I want you guys to know that you are capable of doing this, that you're meant for so much more than you give yourself credit for, and that we all go through these hard times, but we all are capable of getting ourselves out of these funks. It's just up to us to do the work to get there, and to constantly be willing to do that reflection piece. Okay. All right, guys. I hope you have a good night.